This is all my Toodles. Hey Toodles, it's Tuesday and we're reading In the Greatest You. We're actually on chapter 4 now. So let's get into burning bridges. I've already shared some pretty serious stories about my life in this book. But trust me, I have more to come. But I want to start this chapter by making myself look bad over something a little lighter. My wife loves to laugh about it. That's still me a verbal lesson. A few years ago, my family and I moved into a new house, and we wanted the backyard to look great. So we got a fire pit and a bunch of other stuff to make it a place where people could come to protect their peace. Once we had that all set up, my wife looked around and said that she thought that things could even look better if we did a little landscaping near the fire pit. I told her I thought that was really a good idea, and she said she'd make a few calls in the morning. No, I said, I can do this. She looked at me funny because gardening isn't exactly a skill I've shown prophecy at. I might have bought her a flower on any number of occasions, but I sure didn't plant the flowers I gave her. You're going to do this, she said. Yeah, I can do it. I knew she wasn't convinced, but I had to convince in myself. How hard could this be? I'll just enroll in YouTube University and become a self-planner professional gardener overnight. Hey, I don't know a lot of you reading this book. I have taken a few classes on YouTube. So the next day I went to the nursery and mentioning my wife that the first I bought the nursery was a piece of You Find Babies Not Plants. When I got there, my pride cursed to pretend like I knew what I was looking for. I needed help. But I sure wasn't going to ask for it after about a minute of watching me look confused. A salesperson insists on helping me. I'm sure he could tell I was lost. I told him what I was looking to do, and he showed me a bunch of plants that he thought would work well in the situation. I didn't ask any questions. I just bought what I looked good to me. Then I went home and planted them. Just dug holes in the soil, in the ground, and stuck them in. Then I didn't think about a kind of soil I was putting these plants in or whatever I needed to do anything to that soil. I didn't think about the fact that it was in the middle of the summer in Texas and that those plants were probably going to need crazy amount of water if they stood any chance at all. I didn't even think about how deep the hole needed to be. I just dug until it looked like the plant would fit. Stuck the plant in the ground and moved the dirt back around them. I'm pretty sure I sprayed some water on them afterwards. But I certainly did make a habit of watering these things in the following day. When I was finished, I stepped back and admitted my work. The plants looked great around the fire pit, and they kept looking great for a few days. Then they started to die. My first thought was that the guy at the nursery had sold me a bunch of bad plants. So I went back and told him what had happened. He asked me to explain exactly what I did after. I brought the plants home, so I did. Yeah, you did. You were totally wrong, he said after I finished. He then went on an expression explaining to me about evaporating the soil understanding the position of the plant and about the best time of the year for planting certain kinds of plants in this area. He mentioned that watching the kinds of important. He brought up a few other things. By this point, all I was hearing was, "You're not handy at all." I left the nursery with some more stuff, and then I did what I thought I could handle myself. Then I hired a professional to do the rest of the job. I tried to look for lessons in everything and a few different and learning experience. I'm big on taking responsibility and on self-responsibility. So the first thing I thought about was how if I was going to do any job, I had to put in the time to figure out how to do it right. The message seemed pretty obvious, right? But then I started looking at this from the plant's positive. When I first batch of plants died, my first thought was to blame the plants. They didn't grow, so they must have been bad plants. I said as a bunch of guys at the nursery when I went back to complain. But regularly, these plants stood a chance because development. They were in a grave them to chance. They were put in the hands of a guy who knew so little about gardening that he didn't even realize how little he knew about gardening from the time I bought those plants. All the odds against them. Trust me, I'm not a very good planter either, but I do have some plants. And eventually I'll take pictures of what I have planted and I'll post it on my Instagram page. And then I realized that all of us sometimes find ourselves in the same situation. We're in an involvement where there's no chance we can grow them because element makes growth impossible. My gardening disaster reminded me of a tweet by Alexander Hessler I saw a while back. When the flowers don't bloom, you can fix the arrangement in which it grows, not the flower. Thinking about, again, really drove home a point. How many times have you blamed yourself or have other people blamed you for not being the best Verizon? What really to blame in your situation? Is it you who failed to grow, or is it everything around you that is giving you no possibility chance to grow? The plants around me, my fire pit, had no chance from the minute I bought them. I didn't have to say in who their gardener was, and they couldn't take a look at the condition and say, "You know what? I'm out of here." Fortunately, the same isn't true for you. If you're in trouble situation, if the people you're with or the relationship you're in are giving you a little chance of being everything you can be, as I gave that first batch of plants, you have the power to change things. You may not think that you do, but you do. It might not be easy, and it will come with some pain, but you can absolutely get yourself out of the situation that prevents you from growing. The next step in your progress is how to do exactly that. I'm not a gardener, and I can't plant plants that good. I'm not that good at gardening. So until next Tuesday or Sunday, whenever I read the next in the book, The Greatest You. I hope you do. I hope y'all are really enjoying this book, The Greatest You. It is an awesome book. And me sitting here talking about myself in this situation and things as well. So I'm hoping y'all are enjoying reading this book. I have projects I want to talk to y'all about. I have things going on, other things in my life. There are things going on I want to talk about. There's other videos I want to make and talk about. All right. Hope you enjoy this video. Give it a big hoorah, thumbs up. And if you don't, give it a hoorah, thumbs down. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as soon as I learn how to edit better, there'll be some crazy editing videos on here. Until next time, guys. Bye.